Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. Right now, it's looking to be a pretty bad weekend for both DC and Disney and Pixar, with their new movies coming out looking to perform below expectations. Ezra Miller's The Flash faces trouble. Pixar's Elemental gets ice. This is according to The Hollywood Reporter. So The Flash, starring Ezra Miller in the titular role, Warner Brother and DC's looks to gross 58 to 60 million for the 3-day weekend, and 70 million if you counted it for a 4-day. And keep in mind, this last week, the projections were saying it would probably be around 85 million on the high note. So having it already temper expectations after just the Friday showing and the Thursday preview showing is not a good sign for this movie. And likewise for Elemental, Pixar, which has Elemental opening this weekend. Based on Friday's earnings of 11.8 million, the family pick is expected to gross 28 million to 32 million. Now, this last week, the projections for this were 35 million, and that's also a really low expectation that would be disastrous. Keep in mind, this budget for the movie is around $200 million, so $35 million domestically is not a good sign. I mean, this needs to gross around 500 million at the very minimum in order to break even, and The Flash probably needs to gross around 700 million in order to break even. Their reported budget is around 220 million, but that's before reshoots and other things like that. So the budget for Flash is probably closer to the 300 million mark, but let's say 250 just to be generous about it. But either way, it's not good. Strangely enough, director Peter Son of The Good Dinosaur is also the one who directed Elemental. And if people remember, The Good Dinosaur was also a bomb for Disney, and I believe the only feature-length one that Peter Son directed for Pixar. The hope is now that Elemental will parlay its A cinema score into long legs at the box office. Yeah, I mean, an A cinema score, let's jump over to Rotten Tomatoes, and that's actually a pretty respectable score for a movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me just see the all audiences. So a little bit lower for all audiences, but that's okay. Let's check out Metacritic, and that's terrible. I mean, maybe this is review bombing. I mean, they could see some of that in there, but either way, that's not good for this movie right now. And let's check out Flash is okay right here. All audiences, okay, but that's fine. And how's this? Okay, so it's a mid-level movie. I mean, that's not bad, but now it's a question of, are these movies front-loaded? Are most people going to actually see these movies on their opening weekends, or are they going to go back to the theater and see it again? Are more people going to hear word of mouth that these movies are good and come back again? They're hoping that with Elemental and probably with Flash, because that's how Aquaman got its money after a pretty poor opening weekend. But my guess is that's not going to happen. Right now, what you see is people already got their family movie, superhero movie fixed with Across the Spider-Verse. You got Transformers that just came out too. So, and now you got like big budget action movies like Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning coming out in a couple weeks. Got Indiana Jones coming out. So maybe people were just kind of like choosing to skip this week, and they're going to wait for other things to come out because there's nothing about these movies that are just exciting them. You got word about with Elemental that there's messaging in there. People have problems with Disney right now, and Disney's kind of just failing all around. So maybe that's hurting with Elemental showing, but it just seems like with Elemental, the biggest problem is it's just a generic Pixar movie. People know what they are, and there's other animation studios that are actually doing other stuff now. So maybe Pixar needs to kind of get out of their, maybe bring in some new talent and kind of get away from their formulaic thing, because all their movies just kind of feel like reskinned versions of their previous ones. So maybe be a little bit more adventurous with it. The Flash, I think they kind of tried to do a little bit more, but ultimately they were just kind of banking on having all these cameos in it. And from what I've seen, you can pretty much find all the cameos in their clips online right now. So if you really want to see like Nicolas Cage as Superman, it's floating around on the internet, have at it. And a lot of people were turned off by bringing in some dead people in that movie, like with CG, like with Christopher Reeve or Adam West as Batman. But honestly, I don't have an issue with that. That's been done many times before, using computers to bring back people. So I don't really have an issue with that. I don't find it necessarily disrespectful to them, but either way, that's kind of beside the point. These movies just seem like there's something that people don't want to see right now. So if studios want people to come see their movies, they have to make better ones. But ultimately, these are disastrous weekends for both these production houses who have more or less been losing tons of money this last year with all their bombs after bombs. I mean, this is for both DC and for Disney and Pixar. So I don't know what they're going to do in the future. I mean, make something better, listen to audiences, take criticism to heart, and try to find a way to improve what they're doing in the future. But ultimately, respect the fans and people will come see your movies. Let's see what happens with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, because what we've seen with Tom Cruise is he respects the fans and knows that they're the reason that he can actually do what he does. So maybe that'll show up in the box office. We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to hit the like button, share the video, and to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest news. Thank you.